Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the risk of sounding very repetitive, I hope everybody can hear me. I'm sure you can. My name is Sheikh Kluche. I am standing in for the head of the Diaspora Investment Desk, who is Miss Marina Lamte. Unfortunately, due to a few urgent government business, she's unable to join us. I will try my best to do justice to the topic as she would have preferred and loved to do. Um, I have a presentation. I don't know if the team can put it up, but since nobody used the presentation, I don't know if maybe I'll speak to it and then possibly share it with the audience via email if the organizers will permit. Thank you so very much to the foundation, the Geda Foundation, for putting this together. My presentation will focus mainly on the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, our work, and also doing business and business opportunities in Ghana. I will touch briefly about our mandate. I will zero in on a few business opportunities, and then I'll piggyback off of the previous speakers and talk about setting up in Ghana. And then I'll tell you about some of our requirements and incentives. And then hopefully, if you have any questions, I can answer them. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center is the premier investment promotion agency established by an act of parliament. Our role is simply to promote, coordinate, and facilitate investment into the Ghanaian economy. Pretty simple, I hope. Our functions include investment advisory services, registration of new projects, renewal of registered companies, diaspora engagement, monitoring of enterprises that are registered, aftercare services, registration of TTAs, and there's a long list, negotiation of bilateral investment treaties, etc., etc. But in all of this, we are not an island. We don't work in a silo. If you heard Chief Supo speak about some of the work, she kept referencing the GIPC certificate or GIPC. So yes, we do have a list of institutions that we collaborate with, from the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ghana Immigration Service, Diaspora Affairs Office at the Office of the President Director spoke earlier, Ghana Free Zones Authority, Standards Authority, Office of the Registrar of Companies, etc., etc. And what I mean to say by this is, if you get in touch with the GIPC as a Ghanaian or a diaspora who's looking to do business in Ghana, you'll get access. So I may not have all the answers, as I always say during these interactions, to all your questions about food and drugs issues, phytosanitary issues for your export products. But what I do have is a contact, a connection to the Food and Drugs Authority or the Ghana Standards Authority who can answer those questions. And that's what we as investment promotion agencies provide. But in all of this, it's really about Ghana and what Ghana has to offer you, an investor, from our very, very well-educated and endowed human resource to, of course, there's a plethora of evidence, a litany of literature on our natural resources, from cocoa, the minerals, the forest reserves, etc., etc. But a few of our priority sectors as an agency, we focus on agro processing, that is value addition and processing of farm produce. And we really, really piggyback off of the planting for food and jobs, which seeks to really take Ghana from a subsistence level of farming to a more mechanized and industrialized level. Also, irrigation, provision of irrigation services, piggybacking off of the One Village, One Dam. And of course, these are all under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And I bring this up because there is a need for you to, one, get in touch with the sector specific agency, because they would have information, sector profile, sector reviews that will give you the right information to make an informed decision. When you are done with that, then of course we are next. Also, manufacturing is big: one district, one factory, bauxite, iron ore, gold processing, pharmaceuticals, textiles, cocoa processing, infrastructure in terms of schools, hospitals, bridges, roads, airports, etc., railway, waterways. And last but not least is tourism. From the theme parks, there's quite a number of them popping up, ecotourism, hospitality centers and hotels, and of course, cultural tourism, which is heritage tourism, I should say, which is really, really big on their agenda. Now, how do you set up a business in Ghana? I just told you why Ghana is great. I just gave you a few of the priority sectors. Now you want to set up in Ghana. The first thing you need to do is to register the company with the Office of the Registrar of Companies. They'll give you a certificate, a TIN number, company registration documentation to commence business. When you have that in hand, then you need to check if you satisfy the minimum equity contribution. I'll talk about that briefly. When you satisfy that, then you come to registration with the GIPC. Now, if all your documents are in check, it will take you less than 5 days to get your company registered with us. What is minimum equity requirements or contributions? Now, joint ventures in Ghana with Ghanaian partners are encouraged. Ideally, that's what we aim for. That all our foreign investors, all our diaspora investors get into business with Ghanaians. That is what is desired. However, we do allow for 100% foreign participation in terms of 100% of the company being owned by a foreign entity, be it a company, be it an individual. Now, for equity, that is how much you need to show me that you are about to invest in the country. For a joint venture with a Ghanaian partner, you need to show me $200,000. Not cash only. It could be cash or machines and equipment. And then for the Ghanaian partner, especially for the joint venture, the Ghanaian partner must have 10%. Now, for 100% foreign ownership, in terms of the entire company is owned by an individual who is not a Ghanaian yet, who has not gone through the process that Chief Supo put out, then you need to show me $500,000, which is either cash or machine and equipment. If it is cash, it means that it has to go through the banking system. You open a bank account, you put in that money, and then that money can be converted into CDs and then used in the economy. Then I can take it off and say, yes, you satisfy the minimum equity contribution. If it is plant and machines and equipment, then you have to have a customs way bill that will show that that is the worth of the goods or the machines that you are bringing in. Now, if it's for a general trading activity, mostly buying and selling, you need to show me $1 million. You need to employ at least 20 skilled Ghanaians. But this is not all. There are some few exceptions. Portfolio investment, that is investments that are done on the stock market. You don't want to see minimum equity requirements. For manufacturing and export trade enterprises, you don't want to see minimum equity requirements. Also, if you are the foreign spouse of a citizen of Ghana, this does not apply to you. And lastly, if a citizen acquires a second citizenship of another country and so doing loses the citizenship of Ghana, the person does not need to show me minimum equity requirements. Now, what are some of the incentives that we provide in terms of when you register with us? Guarantee against expropriation. That means that if you are duly registered with the GIPC, conducting your lawful, legal business, no government entity in this country can forcibly seize your company from you. Not done. There are some customs duty exemptions on plant, machinery, and equipment under the Exemptions Act, which is now domiciled with the Ministry of Finance. Also, full repatriation of dividends and net profits, transfer of funds in respect of servicing foreign loans, transfer of funds after liquidation. So in other words, we do not hold you ransom with your money. If everything is in check, all your documentation is in check, you are allowed to transfer money, repatriate money back home. Now, one of the things we also provide in collaboration with the Ghana Immigration Service is immigrant quotas. Some of the jobs you intend to undertake, you may need one or two skilled workers that you may not find here in Ghana, you want to bring in from abroad. Depending on the level of investment, that is declared investment in your application form, these are the number of persons that you should be able to bring in on work permits. There are also some time-bound work permits. This is not my forte. Ghana Immigration Service work hand in hand with them to provide some work permits after you've done your automatic immigrant quota. Some of them you may need more, so we give you a specific time, bring them in, and they can assist you in your job. Also, very interesting for me would be locational incentives. Now, these are the incentives that are derived for agro-processing companies, depending on where they are located. First off, if you're an agro-processing company, for your first 5 years, you pay 1%. That is, if you're agro-processing, use agricultural raw materials as your main input, 5% concessionary, 1% for 5 years. Now, after the 5 years, do you revert to the corporate tax? Depending on where you're located. If you're in Accra and Tema, it's 20%. Other regional capitals, except the upper northern regions, 15%. If you're outside the regional capitals, it's 10%. If you're in the 5 northern regions, it's 5%. I guess the question is, why am I zeroing in on only agro processing? Is there something else for the rest of us? Yes, I'm the gift that gives from giving. I'll give you something more. So this table talks about an activity, concessionary tax rates for the number of years and what it reverts to when you're done. If you're going to tree crop farming, 1% for 10 years from start of operation. Cash crop, 1% for 5 years. Cattle farming, 1% for 10 years. Income from a cocoa byproduct business, 1% for 5 years. Income from a company from a waste processing business, 1% from 7 years. The income of a venture capital financing, 1% for 10 years. That means that if your declared activity, if your modus operandi, if your business is in any of these places, this is the concessionary tax rate you get for these number of years. Because the government of Ghana understands that these sectors are ripe for investment. We need more investment in these sectors. That's why we're giving these concessionary rates. Now, one thing too that we do is you can carry forward your losses. Some in specific priority sectors, 5 years, in other areas, 3 years. Now, for manufacturing companies, Accra, Tema, 25% of the corporate rate. If it's elsewhere, it is 50% off. But there may be some of you who have, some savings, some connections to large sums of money that we will term as strategic investors. Now, those people we actually invite to the table to discuss how best we can assist them. And these are investments upwards of $50 million. And once again, under the Exemptions Act, which is domiciled in the Ministry of Finance, we sit down and we negotiate. So in a nutshell, this is what we do at the GIPC. We assist you to set up in this country. We provide aftercare services. We provide monitoring evaluation services. And these are some of the things you can get if you invest in Ghana. So as my CEO always say, come grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana. Thank you very much. I'm sure the applause is deafening, but unfortunately I cannot hear you. I will take a few questions if you have them.
Thank you, Mr. Gruche. I hope you can give us some time, maybe after the whole presentation. Some of the questions were sent in a chat form so that we'll read and then we'll refer them to the possible facilitators for them to respond. From Lawrence Bruce, I am curious as to how much it will cost to start a business in Ghana. So, Mr. Kruche, this is for Mr. Kruche. How much it will cost to start business in Ghana? This is to Mr. Kruche.
Okay. Well, there's no fixed amount of money that you need to start a business. It all comes down to the type of business that you want to undertake. However, if, like I pointed out, if you are registering and your company has foreign participation, let me explain. If you register a company at the Office of the Registrar of Companies, they would ask you who the directors are. If any of the directors
Okay.
is not a Ghanaian, that means that your company has foreign participation. If that is the case, then you need to show the minimum equity contribution. That means to say that you need to show me your 200,000 in their cash or plant and machines if it's a joint venture, or 500,000 or a million, so on and so forth. However, that does not mean that you need $200,000 to start that particular business. That is just the law's requirements for you to show how much you are investing. For example, if you were to start a car importation business because you believe that you have a good deal abroad, the car would cost, let's say, $5,000 to buy. It will cost
Yeah.
$2,000 to ship to come here. It will cost $1,000 to clear. That is $8,000 just to start your car business, which is not in my purview to say. It's really more down to the research. And there are other factors that go into the amount of money to need. However, I really wish the Mrs. Osei was on the call to let you know maybe the fees involved in registering a company. After you register the
Okay.
company, then you go into the costing of that business. I hope I have answered the question, Mr. Ross.
Thank you.